I'm not really sure what I want to do for this video, to be perfectly honest. For all I know, it could just be me talking into the void, with like a black screen, I suppose. Or I could probably just have like gameplay over it. Or I might just ultimately end up recording the rest of this with like webcam. But I sort of just thought I'd take the time and reflect and think about this year as a whole. Um,
They can't win against the
since
flock,
I've sort of just been thinking about that
especially
more.
when you're a big flock
Obviously,
piper.
this year's definitely been really unexpected, I suppose, and I think that goes without saying for the most part. But it definitely this year definitely surprised me in multiple ways, whether it be in a good or a bad way, really. But yeah, I guess I don't really have that much to say, or at least that much I would say in the beginning of this, at least. Um, so yeah, if you are watching this for any reason whatsoever, really, I hope you enjoy me ranting to my computer screen for God knows how long, really. Yeah, hope you enjoy it, I guess. January, February as a whole, and I'm grouping those 2 months together because of this, um, weren't really that exciting, I suppose. There wasn't really much of interest around this time. I think I was just still getting used to being virtual and all, and I think this was around the time where I stopped working. But this was, yeah, this was around. I was just sort of just trying to get used to online classes, I suppose. And in February or in like early February or late January, I do remember my computer with my 1060 breaking. I don't really, even now I still don't really know what happened. I presume it had to do with something overheating. Yeah, I guess that's around the time where I started contemplating getting a new computer as well. It was definitely something I've been thinking about for a while, since I think it was about 3 years of me having that computer up to that point. It wasn't the end of the world for me either, since I did have a laptop that was a pretty decent laptop for gaming, I guess. But you know, it was still a gaming laptop. And I do remember also waiting for the 3060 to be released so I could get one of those, hopefully. And well, spoiler, I didn't. But I did end up signing for the EVGQ. And well, thankfully, I did end up getting one way later. But I think overall, just really tame, I guess. I think mentally I wasn't doing that well around this time, at the beginning of the year, or like a lot of the beginning of this year. I wasn't really doing that great mentally, I suppose. I wasn't in a terrible spot, but I also wouldn't say I was in anywhere near good spot, really. But yeah, I think my motivation for OSU was also just like really low, because online classes were they were a lot draining than I was expecting them to be. But yeah, that's about it for this month, really, or these 2 months, really. March was, I think March was when I started being more social, I suppose, for a lack of better descriptions. I remember attending one of the Cave Fairfax meetups that was held in well, Fairfax, Virginia, obviously. I remember attending one of those, and I also remember joining Seikara's Discord near the end of March. Outside of that, not much, I guess. A bulk of the anime that I watched this year as well was from these first 3 months. I did also forget to mention, a bulk of what I watched this year was in these first few months, and and as of the time of recording this, I haven't really been watching many, to be quite honest. But yeah, that's kind of it. April was the time I think I was starting to be, well, obviously I was starting to be more active in Seikara's Discord. Well, obviously because I joined literally on March 31st. But outside of that, I don't think I really did that much. I did start talking with a couple more people often. Uh, so I guess I was a bit more social, I guess. Um, and I do also remember making the or working on the tribe perennial roster hype video thing. Yeah, that was that was pretty interesting. Um, I just remember I don't really remember how it went down, but I remember like I think it was Rectagon just like asking, "Yo, you want to make this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, fuck it, why not?" So yeah, that was interesting to say the least. But other than that, don't think I really did much of note. I was still sort of just getting used to using a laptop, and I was also just like looking around more potentially to get like a new PC, whether it be like a pre-built or a shitty laptop that was also better than the previous computer that I had. So yeah. May overall, I guess, wasn't really too exciting either, or at least from what I can remember. Um, I think, I think a few days prior to like the first day of May or something, that's when I reached nine when I reached 9K from D ranking. Um, I do also remember getting my 3060 really in like early May as well, so that's pretty cool. Um, but I wasn't getting any parts for it yet since I wanted to at least stay on this on the laptop and finish out my studies with that, I suppose. So there's that, and I do also believe I did actually replace my mic, my Blue Snowball with this Blue Yeti. Still contemplating the decision on the Blue Yeti, but that's besides the point. There isn't really much else to be said. I think I was also planning or starting to plan a bit more for the OSU tournament that I would eventually hold in like late June. I started planning for that a bit more, and I think I was actually promoted to an events team role in Seikaro's Discord because of that. But other than that, yeah, nothing really too much. Still on the laptop, and I started buying parts somewhere down the line for my new computer, and that's sort of that's sort of it for this month. Yes, June, the month where I turned a year older and I take a step closer to death, something something. Don't think I really did much this month either. I think my motivation for Osu was actually starting to get a bit better because of the tournament that I was hosting. I do believe that started in like late-ish June, and that went on through into July. So that's pretty neat. Yeah, that's probably the most notable thing from that month that I can remember. It's that Osu tournament that I hosted. Yeah, that's sort of the only memorable thing for me from that month outside of my birthday was just hosting that Osu tournament, which was more oriented towards Seikara's community, and I was really surprised because I did end up actually getting 26 signups if I'm not mistaken, which was also significantly more than what I got in the most recent tournament that I hosted. Um, Interestingly enough, even though I did tweet out about it, albeit only once for this time around, but either way, that's about it. I have to think of a better way to close all these out. Otherwise, they're all just gonna be me saying, "Yeah, that's about it, guys." July was definitely when I started being a lot more active, I suppose, because I at that point I was on my break and I was sort of just starting to get more used to just chilling really. Um, I do believe this was also around the time where I made the USC Massachusetts roster hype video. Um, which to be honest, I sort of do wish I did that a lot better. It I don't think it was terrible by any means really, but I do definitely feel that I could have done a lot better. Yeah, it was definitely a fun experience. It was a fun experience making that, and I do also believe I was starting to get more interested in tournaments, or at least watching tournaments. Um, and I do believe my motivation for OSU was a lot better, and this was also the month where I was able to switch onto my new PC, which I finally got around to building. I think I also started streaming a bit more. Um, and I was setting a couple scores, and I do also believe I reached ID rank to 10 digit around the beginning of July. I was a whole month off of being able to play 5WC. This is so sad, I suppose. But yeah, other than that, my motivation was slowly starting to come back, and I think I had a small aim pop off day towards the end of July. So yeah, my motivation was definitely looking a lot better, and really just more of the same in terms of interacting with people and just being active in discords and all that. So I do also suppose, as a side note, for the grand finals, I did actually plan for Seikara to come on to sort of just join me while commentating the grand finals. But that never ended up happening since there's a couple schedule conflicts. But yeah, again, that's pretty cool, I guess. August was definitely when I'd say my motivation for Osu was really starting to come back in a more meaningful way, I suppose, to the point where I was actually grinding the game a bit, I believe. Beginning of the month, I got reworked back into 4 digit. So I went from like 10.2k to like 9.7k, and it's like, oh, I can't leave, and that's sort of what I guess that's what sort of motivated me to start playing more. And to be fair, I did set a couple pretty good scores early on in the month. Streamed a bit more. I also made that really weird McDonald's review video, which I think is my best performing video this year. It has like 241 views, it has like 241 views with 30 likes. And it's like, Jesus Christ, I feel bad for anybody that actually watched that. Why would anybody watch that? Other than that, I don't think I did too much outside of that. I do also think I was considering getting into content creation more, or like thinking about it at least, whether it be just me uploading certain clips or scores, or just like potentially making videos. That's overall a pretty good month for Osu. September was definitely when my motivation was probably at an all-time high at that point, I think. Not in my career, but definitely in that year at the very least. Um I think I signed up for a couple tournaments. I signed up for, it was Yuki Aim and CES Open, and I played the qualifiers for those. Obviously I didn't have a chance in Yuki Aim qualifiers, but I did actually manage to qualify in CES, and all things considered, I think I did pretty okay, or I think I did pretty well in that tournament. It's kind of sad to say that it's my best tournament performance till date, but or to date, but that's just how it is. I did get a couple points versus Denier and in my initial match, and I got a few points versus JT or GT in my in the second match. And to be perfectly honest, I mean, I'm sort of satisfied with how I did in the match versus Denier, but I feel like I could have done a lot better in the match versus GT. I Up till that point, I actually had a Monster Energy, and I learned the hard way that caffeine does not help me at all, and if anything, it actually makes me play worse. My aim just felt way too loose, and it just didn't feel right. And whenever I got nervous, it would just intensify my shakes even more. It also does not help that I that I hover. But outside of that, think I was pretty motivated to just play Osu a lot more, grind out some scores, and just do some more things and be a bit more social, I suppose. Oh yeah, there is also that intermission I did for the Seikara's the talent show that was held in Seikara's Discord. And I explicitly remember ordering a green screen, a tripod for my phone, which also had a ring light, and gloves to match the tuxedo I had from high school band. I remember getting all of those just for that video, just where I stand in front of a green screen and read some really terrible jokes off a sheet of paper. It's a very stupid video in hindsight, but I'm definitely happy that I got to make it, because it was because that making that sort of content was really interesting to me, I suppose. I was really interested in making that sort of thing, and I'm happy that I had some platform to show what I made that isn't just YouTube. Um, but other than that, yeah, nothing too much. Choked a couple more 7 stars, and yeah, that's about it. October was a bit of a weird month for me, I suppose. My motivation was all over the place, or at least near the beginning of it, and I think towards the end of it, my motivation was just a lot better. I guess for starters, my 1060 that was in my original build, I decided to sort of dust it out because I was planning to build a computer to bring to the Okomoka meetup in Maryland. And what really confused me, because like I wasn't really dusting it because I needed a graphics card. I had a 980 Ti coming in like the day after I decided to dust the 1060. But when I dusted the 1060 out and put it on the put it in the computer, because I had the rest of the computer, I just need the graphics card. I put it in the computer and it works, displays, and the fan was spinning, which really confused me. I think that's around the time where I sort of just confirmed that, okay, so this isn't a graphics card issue, and it isn't a CPU issue either, because the CPU was recycled from my old PC for the LAN PC. That was working just fine. The RAM was also working fine. So it had to be something with the motherboard, I thought. And well, to be honest, to this day, I still don't really know. And to be honest, I do not care enough to find out. That being said, I the Okamoka meetup was pretty cool. I got to meet with some of the Maryland boys. That I wasn't that I'll be real. I did miss. I miss a few. I do miss a few of them. And I missed a few of them up till that point. It was pretty chill. We got to play we played a little LAN tournament. Went out for barbecue, and yeah. I do also remember getting a pretty neat score on Holic with Easy during the tournament, and I believe that was in my match versus Kodama. As for the tournament, I won my first match versus Kama, which if he was playing on an actual PC, I would have been happy with. I would have been happy with that, because Kama was playing on a laptop with like 14 milliseconds of like delay or input lag, and yeah. And then I lost my match versus Kodama, and I was supposed to play a third place match versus Leotic, and Leotic had to leave early. But yeah, there's that. So I got defaulted to third. But outside of that, I got a couple more 7-star chokes, and that was pretty tilting. And I think later in that month, I ended up getting my first 7-star FC, which was on Ui, the top diff, and I remember I was getting like I was starting to get slightly pissed about it. So what I decided to do was just turn down the music and just like have something playing, like have a chill or slow song playing on Spotify while I played. And to be fair, it worked out. I ended up getting the FC, and I'm really happy about it. It's just really it's just really funny how it played out, I suppose. And I did also get my 2 miss on Send on Life with no fail, which was my second top play at the time. But other than that, OWC happened. I had fun watching that. And I think this was also around the time where I started being more interested in like interacting with artists, I suppose. I don't really know why. I guess I just really like art. I started having more of appreciation towards art during that time. But yeah, other than that, watched the Counter-Strike Major. Didn't really stream much, and I think mentally, I think I was doing overall better in comparison to the rest of the year. Not the greatest still, but better at least. November was a pretty interesting year for me in terms of Osu, I suppose. I think my interest in Osu and just overall motivation was starting to taper off a bit. Or I wouldn't say interest, but my motivation was starting to taper off a bit. Even despite the good old stimulus check, quote unquote, that I got in the beginning of the year in the form of the rework. I shot up from like 9 point something K to like 6.7k. So I sort of got pretty boosted from that rework. But even despite that, I think my motivation for us was starting to be a bit more fluctuative. I guess that's probably not a word, but it was starting to fluctuate a lot more. I think I was also starting to play Pokemon a bit more around that time. On my totally real Nintendo DS, and I did also order a Red Switch keypad around that time. I guess I was sort of just waiting for the Red Switch keypad to come in, so I could have some form of motivation to start grinding the game. And to be fair, my first time on the Reds, not first time, my second time I think on Reds went pretty well, and I think I got some pretty good scores. I think I also had because of that I think I also got some more motivation to start grinding again for 4WC tryouts and all that. So yeah, that's pretty neat. And here we are at good old December. December is I'm probably going to be able to recall a lot more things in this part because, well, it is so recent. But I was just really motivated, I guess, to play for the 4WC tryouts, and I think, and to be fair, in practice, I don't think I did that bad. I got some pretty okay scores on maps in practice, but then I really did bad in the lobby, or at least for the standard that I set. I mean, I guess it was alright overall. I did reach the average that I was planning to reach in terms of score. I got a good handful of scores this month as well. Most notably, I guess, my Origami Hard Rock FC and Music Start Hidden Double Time, which is pretty neat. And the Raise 4 or the Fox 4 Raise Hard Rock score was pretty neat because of the UR. I don't really know what happened that day, because I was really just feeling good on that day, I suppose. I got the Raise 4, or like the Fox 4 score first, and then I played the Origami map, it was definitely unexpected to an extent, but at the same time I did sort of just like know I could do it in the back of my head. And then the Music Start Hidden Double Time was just sort of a score that I wanted for a while, and I played it because I was starting to get mind blocked on some Hard Rock maps, so I decided to just move on to DT, and I one missed it with regular DT, slapped Hidden Double Time, and then I got the FC, which I'm pretty happy about. Yeah, other than that, I think I started interacting with a few others more, started reflecting a lot more, obviously, because it is so close to the end of the year. Yeah, started talking with people more, and overall, at the end of this month, I feel I do feel a lot more happier than in the rest of the year. So yeah. So here we are at the end of this reflection video, I suppose, aka me rambling to my computer screen while a couple clips probably play while I'm rambling. But yeah, I think overall as a year, it was an upward trend. That's for sure. Both mentally and I guess physically as well. I lost a good amount of weight towards the end of the year, which I'm happy about, and I'm definitely trending downwards a bit in weight, I think, and well, that's good to say the least. I guess as a few side notes for the overall part of this year is that I've definitely developed a heavy appreciation, I guess, towards those who make almost really any type of work, really, or any type of art, really, and well, just overall work, really, whether it be drawings, music, all that. It's something that I've grown in appreciation towards, both towards it and those who make it, because some of them I just can't really I could never imagine seeing myself doing them, mostly from or like whether it's from a lack of experience of doing it or just never really being good at it, or at least good enough in my eyes to pursue it. So I've definitely grown a heavy appreciation towards people who have been able to do something with their skills. And again, just I've grown an appreciation towards those who make it and the works themselves. And I do suppose that's why I do sort of wish to be friends with people who make those sorts of things, because I do have that layer of respect for them. And I do also, from the handful that I have interacted with, they seem like really cool and chill people and really funny people. You know, people that I would like to, people that I wouldn't mind talking to for a good period of time, I suppose. And I guess on the topic of friends, I still don't really understand my concept of friends, really. I mean, it definitely doesn't help that I didn't have that big of a group of friends in high school, really. Really, I guess my standard for who I consider a friend is if they consider me a friend, um, and if I would like to be their friend, that's sort of just what determines whether I'm friends with someone or not, or at least in my mind. Other than that, I guess I would consider myself acquainted with them at that point. Thinking of like people I've become acquainted with, it is sort of crazy to me how I've become acquainted with some of the people that I have become acquainted with, and it's because I would never I never really saw myself. It's because would never really have seen myself becoming acquainted with them in the first place, and it's not really because I dislike them or anything, but it's really just more of their interests are just completely different than mine, and just their overall fields are just so different from what I do. I've at the very least become acquainted with people that I've looked up to in some way or form, in whether it be in OSU or video games, or yeah, all of that. And I've also gotten to talk to some of them a fair amount, whether it be through voice calls or private messages or just chatting in a public Discord, any of that really. It's sort of crazy to me how I've managed to do that, I suppose. And I don't want to sound like a social climber as well, because like I just really, I don't know how I feel about social climbers. I have also started thinking about how much I've appreciated Pokemon a lot, because Pokemon has been a pretty prominent thing in my life, I suppose. I remember watching a lot of it when I was younger, or watching a lot of the anime when I was younger, and I played a lot of the games when I was younger as well. And even now I'm playing it a lot more on like whether it be emulators or like DS consoles. And I've sort of become more emotional this year. That's definitely for sure. Being isolated by myself for a bit, or at least with some of my family, it's definitely been rough, and I think that applies to like everybody really. Become a lot more emotional in the sense that I start to reflect upon things a lot more. I start like thinking about the past a lot more, my past decisions, what I'm gonna do in the future, and I guess I just get a lot more. I get emotional a lot more quickly, I suppose. And music definitely has a prominent role in my emotions. A lot of what I listen to definitely affects how I feel and think, I suppose, for that day. And I do suppose that is also why I've sort of grown an appreciation for arts as well. But yeah, I guess that's about it. I don't think I'm missing out on anything, and this is like, this is the second recording I've done of this, which is definitely a lot more than what I do for a lot of things, really. But I don't think I'm really missing out on anything else. So I guess all I have really left to say is thank you to all the people that have had some sort of positive impact on me throughout this year. I really doubt a good portion of the people that I'm thinking of are watching this, because some of them are just content creators that are a lot bigger than me, and they're just doing their own things, really. So I doubt some of them would be watching this, but if you are, hey, thank you. You've had a very good impact on me. And I've definitely enjoyed supporting you, and I've definitely enjoyed watching your content. And some of them are also just people that I've been acquainted with that I don't think really we really talk much. But that being said, again, thank you. And if you listen through to all this, thank you as well. I don't really know why you would, but thanks. um, but yeah, I hope you all have an incredible new year. I hope you all stay safe and stay healthy, and those around you stay healthy as well. And yeah, thank you.